turned 18 years old, I went to a conference with my church, and I heard a message that moved something in my heart and prompted me to respond. And that is when I would say I really became a Christian. I was baptized when I was 5 years old, and I kind of went through the steps. But when I turned to 18 and I heard that message, that's when I decided to make the decision for myself to follow Christ. And it wasn't something that was forced upon me, but it was a decision that I made for myself. I learned what God's love really was, and how He shows it in so many different ways. And my relationship with God has not been the same since then. It's continued to grow, and it's become more dynamic and become more real and more had much more of an impact on my life than it did previously. So that's my story. It's continuing to develop. It's not done yet. I know I have a lot of growing to do, and I look forward to continuing to develop my relationship with God. One of the most difficult things that I've ever had to go through was the process I took to get into medical school. I was rejected the first time I applied, which was really hard for me, and I didn't understand why God would put me through something like this. Why would He make me, suffer like this? But during that time, I relied on my faith, and my parents were a huge support for me. They prayed for me. My sisters prayed for me, and I had other family and friends that were praying for me. I read my Bible more. I prayed more, and I just really tried to understand what God wanted me to do with the time. And during that time, my relationship with Him strengthened. It grew tremendously, and I know now, looking back, that was a period that I needed to go through in my life. I'm just grateful that He brought me through that stronger and a much better person. That God is love. He loves you, and this took a long time for me to understand. Just knowing that God loves you no matter what. There's nothing that can separate you from the love of Jesus, and He wants you to come to Him. He wants you to reciprocate that love, and if you just give Him a chance, He will move mountains for you, and He will open up doors for you in ways that you can't even imagine. So I would just encourage people to just try it out, try God's love, and I promise you won't regret it.
I'm grateful enough, and because my parents, they're like very passionate about their spiritual life, so they want their kids to be, to have a relationship with God. And because of that, I think I'd taken it for granted, because I thought like, oh wait, I'm Christian already, so I know everything about Jesus. I already memorized all the verses. Thank you for Sunday school and everything. But yet again, I believe that Christianity is not only about religion, it's also about relationship. So through a course of time, through everything that I've been through, I realized, even though I was like taking it for granted, I realized, oh wait, something happened not because of my own strength, but it's just because of God. He's like placing everything, or like doing all those things for His goodness in my life. So before I thought like, oh, I got into this messed up situation, very difficult situation, and I was like, nope, this is too hard and I don't want to do it anymore. But yet again, something great happened. So I believe in that time, I was like realizing it, oh, wait a minute, it did not happen because God prepared something even bigger or even greater than what I've thought before. So I mean, through that course of time, through that experience, it really built up like my faith into Him. I'm not saying now I'm perfect because I believe I've been going through rough patches, that God is like always helping me to believe, always talk to my heart, always like using a lot of people surround me to communicate well to me, to let me know if I'm doing it right or not, or like, to be like God's tool to remind me of His goodness, of what should I do. So yeah, I mean, yeah, because I think because I grew up as a Christian, I took it for granted. But yet again, as I recall again, I take everything like, oh yeah, it's God's way. And then through that, I realize it's His goodness that makes me where I am right now. And that's what I just need to remind myself, and to keep the relationship with Him all the time. Like that. God who made me this way, and then in that brokenness, in that weakness, it's God who should like perfect it. And then we got reminded like, oh wait, I'm not perfect because God is perfect. I think that's what our life is all about. It's all about Him. So when we're like, you know, when we're weak, when we're like in a deep alley like that, we feel like we're not good enough, and then people see like, no, you're doing great, you're doing awesome. Oh wait a minute, that's not me, that is God. That's what I always keep reminding myself. Or if someone just complimented me, I feel like, oh, it's not my own strength, it's God. So for me to tell other non-believers, or even like believer who forgot about it, including me, I always think that Christianity is not about religion, it's about relationship with God and knowing His character, that He loves you no matter what. His mercy is like totally, He's too good. And yeah, I just feel there's no enough words to describe His great characters and His love.
I grew up in the church. I remember my mom taking me to church when I was really young. From when I was a baby, I was in church on Sundays, I was in church on Wednesdays, so it was just natural to be a Christian. My whole family was Christian, and our faith was kind of like the solid foundation of our entire family. And I specifically remember I was walking out of church one day, and I got into the car with my mom, and I just turned to my mom and I said, "Hey Mom, I think I want to be a Christian." I was 7 years old, and she asked me why, and I told her I feel safe, I feel like it's natural to trust in God, I feel like it's what I want to do, and I wanted to have that be a part of my life. And I thought my Christianity honestly was kind of hindering me from experiencing different ways of life, and so I started to like step away from Christianity just a little bit. I started to look into trying to find fulfillment in like boys and relationships, school, friendships, being popular, being pretty, and I was trying to use all these things to fill me up. I thought I was missing out on something, so I started to look to all these other things to fill me up. And then around my freshman year of high school, I realized that none of them did. None of them were going to fill me up the way that God did when I was 7 years old. Around 15, I was at church, and we had this evening service, and I decided to recommit my life to Christ, which basically means that I have tested all the waters of other things that could fill me, and I realized that it wasn't as good as what God was giving me, so I just decided that this was the way I was going to go for the rest of my life. God is amazing. Like the way that He loves you, the way that He just provides for you, the way that He comforts you when nobody else can, or the way that He directs you. I don't know. It's just incomparable to anything else. And I feel like, we're always trying to find joy and satisfaction in all these different things that are kind of only, not even a fraction of what God can give us. And we're settling for this life of mediocrity and not really trying to strive to be better, or finding like fulfillment in what's truly fulfilling, which is God. And God is able to take care of all of our needs, and He's able to just be our best friend, our Father, all these things that we are missing out in this world. Like He is able to fulfill all of those just by who He is. And I mean, there's nothing like Him. So I can't even explain it. Like, that's what I would say, I guess. I don't really